You are now about to witness the awesome, crushing might of my friends, welcome to a show that apparently never ends. It's round number 342 as we creep inexorably slower but surely toward round 251 a la flambe. Right now, we're going to look into the not so recent future. Prognostication up the yin. But first, this UFC Fight Night 77, Belfort, Henderson. Johnny Boney Joni, Rhonda Rousey, and a short take on MMA as you now know it, including Danny Costa. Danny Costa, sorry. Friend of Knuckle Up. He's not been on the show, but he's a friend of mine. Go to keep the show down there when I find this friend. I'm on my way back. Right after this. I took my time, but I could not see too clear. I'm taking a real good look at you. I'm taking a real good look at your face. Being paid back in full, always nothing. All right, so you know, I got lots of complaints when I let the music run the whole show, and I got zero complaints when I cut it for everything but the intro. I'd like to say that I have the battery, for the lav mic that I'm going to use next week, but I do not have the battery for the lav mic, even though today is the 1st of November and I've gotten paid and I had the $15 to buy the battery. I have not had a chance to get the battery. So I got the mic. I just don't have the battery. And, you know, one of you guys who ordered the fight book, because I have the fight book back in stock, coming from me, it cost you $35 and it's autographed. Every autograph signature, I write a piece of doggerel in it, which is guaranteed to be different from time to time unless I forget. But one of you guys, and I don't know that he wants his name trumpeted out to the public, look, if you come from Canada, it costs me $20 extra to ship it to Canada. Sorry, it's 30, 35 plus 20. But this guy wasn't coming from Canada, and he put an extra $15 in, and supposedly, I guess that was supposed to be for me to buy myself some coffee. Like, even though I don't drink coffee, and I don't know if they're $15 cups of coffee that I'd want to drink, but you know, I would take that $15 and take it to buy a battery, but I've already spent that money. It's like Porky Pig and the Wolf. And Porky Pig is hard working, and the wolf is sitting on the porch singing "Working Can Wait." This is paradise. Relaxing with nothing to do. Winter comes. The wolf is starving to death. He begs and begs to be let in. He tells Porky Pig, "I've learned the wrongness of my ways. I promise, as soon as summertime hits, I'm gonna be industrious and productive." And winter, you know, winter ends, boom, summer comes, and he's back on the porch with his guitar, laughing at Porky Pig, the hard-working swine. So So I have taken your $15 and I've spent it on something useful, like keeping the lights on or keeping the water flowing to the house, which apparently is necessary. The guy who sent the toilet paper, God love you, I ran out of that. So I'm back to stealing toilet paper from the office building in which I work, which is not a problem, but it's just getting out of the stall with that big industrial roll of toilet paper. You know, when people stop you, what do you say? Hey, I came with this. No, man, I got custom toilet paper. I walk around with it. You can go straight to hell. No, actually, nobody says anything to me in that building. The building within which I work, nobody says anything. Yeah, I don't want to pull the race card. but, you know, you got like 40 companies in the building, and you've got 3 Negro males in the building. You know, it's like a cognitive dissonance. Like people like, there's something wrong. I don't know quite what it is. It's that guy, he's so negative. He's so negative. He's so negative. Okay, yeah, we get where that's going. Anyway, this is round number 342. And rather than draw you out longer, I'm going to reward the 4 viewers who showed up as a result of my tweet. And I'm going to get the incendiary shit out of the way right now. I don't know if you know are old enough to have remembered Arsenio Hall. Arsenio Hall was a guy who had a talk show with tons of charisma, but it actually trundled over the hill to be, he was like a black Mike Douglas, just a little too fawning. Oh my God, man, you're so one. Or for those of you on the rock and roll side, or Henry Rollins show was just a little bit too fawning. You got to have some of that Dick Cavett. If you've seen Ian Savonius from Nations of Ulysses, he's got that soft focus thing on Vice's channel. It's actually, he is just doing Dick Cavett. And Dick Cavett was always, even though he had problems with depression, you could always tell he felt slightly better than the people he was talking to. And that's the kind of talk show guy I like. But Arsenio Hall was kind of fawning and kind of ingratiating, lots of charisma. But he used to have this section called Things That Make You Go, you know, and I don't want to call it that because I'm not, again, I'm like, I didn't close off the thought from last week, which was like anybody who has a public forum, who's standing behind a microphone, has to resist the temptation to be appealing, because even though when you get your first laugh or you have somehow moved the audience. I remember the first time we played Tokyo, I looked out and people in the audience were crying. They were crying. They was like, my God, I've reached in and touched these people. Yeah, it's a Pavlovian thing. You like this feedback and you want it to happen again and again. Nah, I don't want it to happen again because it stands in the way of truth. That's why joke bans, it's a terrible prison. You know, that's why clowns are terrifying. You know, John Wayne Gacy puts on the motley little smiley face and inside, like you never think of the guy at Chuck E. Cheese. What do you think about the guy at Chuck E. Cheese? You know what I see when I see the big rat dancing at Chuck E. Cheese? I see a guy inside who's making minimum wage like this. You can't see him. The mommy, the rat's making funny noises. It's like Bad Lieutenant, bad Chuck E. Cheese. So right away, I think I'm going to start with the incendiary stuff right up top, and I'm gonna share with you some of my texts. I'm going to see if I can conceal the name, but some of you who are more astute, I'll just show you what he sent me. I think I can send it and block out his name. And what he sent is, I'm just going to hold it right up. I don't know where he got it from. It says mediatakeout.com. Let's see. Can you see that? Do you know who that is? Yeah, I'm sure you do know who that is. That's Rhonda. Yeah, that's Rhonda. Rhonda Rousey. And she's walking down the street. It's a time-elapse thing. Rhonda's looking pretty big, you know. Let me tell you a story. Let me tell you a little bit of a story. There's this guy who I knew, and some of you who've heard the show can don a shillelagh on me, but those of you it might be new. And this is back in the late 80s. The guy was a UPS driver, a nice guy, kid, you know. So back in the 80s, I was 25. This guy was 19. Big, strong kid. We were pretty close. I could hear his footsteps. I mean, keep in mind, back when I say back in my bodybuilding days, I ultimately ended up being 265 pounds. 265 pounds. We were all chasing 300 pounds until one of us had a heart attack, and then we fled and went back down in weight, you know. But that's not this guy all of a sudden starts picking up weight. He's now 225. He's benching 3 plates for reps, you know. I mean, he's coming up with the big boys where we are. I'm benching 345 for reps. I think I maxed out like where did I max out? Like, I don't know, 365, something like that. Not for triples. I would always do triples or doubles. And the kid's getting big, and I said, "Hey man, you're getting pretty big. Funny, you're getting pretty big, you know." And you just let it hang there. It's like surfing. The hang time on something like that. The hang time tells you all you need to know, because what you're really saying is you are looking extra big. And the guy looks at me, and he understands what I'm saying, and he looks at me and he says, cuts to the chase, says, "Cybergenics." I was like, cybergenics, really? This is the kind of thing in the red light district of Muscle Magazine that they was always touting and you wondered about. Cybergenics. I go, you know, could you bring me some? I want to take a look at it. He goes, "Well, you know, I've finished this cycle of cybergenics, but I'll bring you the routine. You can see all the booklet and all the stuff." I said, "Okay, bring it." And he brings it to me, and I read it, and I sit through, and I'm saying, this is an incredible workout. In fact, I have to honestly say that part of their snake oil scam is that if you do this workout and you eat rat poison, you will gain 20 pounds of muscle. The workout was that fucking intense. If you could eat floor sweepings, you could eat pocket lint, and you were going to get 20 pounds on this diet easy. But I understood what he was doing. He was Trojan horsing his gains. That's Popeye. He was Trojan horsing his gains under the general rubric of cybergenics, and I loved it. I think I was 245 then. So when I gained another 10 pounds, and some of my cop friends who also worked out, you know, it took me 10 years before we could trust each other and talk about things frankly, like men do amongst each other. But they would come in and say, "Man, you're looking pretty big." I go, cybergenics. So, yeah, like I said, I'm starting with the incendiary stuff up top. Cybergenics, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. God damn it. All this smoke screening stuff about, oh, every muscle on my body is for a reason. Sorry if I'm not, my gender confirmation doesn't make you happy. My body is for something other than having sex with millionaires. And good lines all. Smoke screen my fucking ass, man. You can't tell me anything. You know who Dan Duchesne is? Look up Dan Duchesne. I think Dan Duchesne might be dead. He was like a number one steroid authority. People have asked me for my to get a gander on like who's that? The Utah guy. Who's the guy who ran for president? Somebody text me. The creepy Mormon cat who ran for president. 650-714-4891. Text me this guy's name. The long-faced man. I can now. John Kerry is blotting everything out. Mitt Romney. Never mind. But Mitt Romney. With his folders of women. I got my folders of steroids. And it goes back to the 70s. All this research of guys who died. Momo Benaziza, one of the first guys who died. Tony Sansone, who had liver problems. I go the highs and lows. Don't tell me shit. You come on. Oh, Eugene, in your conspiracy, you're crazy. Stop it. So I tried to explain to a guy the other day. He's like, "Oh man, the World Series, your Mets are about to get knocked out." I go, "Jay, look, just because I'm from New York doesn't mean they're my Mets. I don't know shit about baseball, okay?" Secondly, I don't even have to watch this game to tell you what's going to happen with this game. He goes, "Whoa, what's good?" I go, "The Mets are going to win." Never. When have they never played 7 games? When have you ever seen them? It's only if the numbers are down and nobody's watching. You got Toronto Blue Jays and the Florida Marlins, and the numbers are in the toilet. Do they ever go 4 games? Why do you think that is? He's like, "Well, you saying that sports are fixed?" I'm saying that professional sports are doctored, worked. And it doesn't really matter. It does if you are a casual fan and you're just into hanging out with your friends and eating chips, and it's not for you. In other words, believe it or not, at the end of the day, your spreadsheet action on this doesn't make a fucking difference. You know, if I'm hoping that the 49ers win and the 49ers don't win, I got a few minutes of chatter in the office about the 49ers and how they've fallen apart since Harbaugh left, and that's fine. Okay, but or you know, if I have an office pool and I put $5 down, it doesn't matter. When you go to Las Vegas, and it matters. It matters to the degenerate gambler. We're talking to Kevin Weeks, Whitey Bulger's right-hand man, and he told me, he said, "Look, you know, I'm not, despite what people might think, I'm not a bloodthirsty thug. You know, the 19 deaths behind me, but forget it. I'm not a bloodthirsty thug. That's not the point. The point, look, if I know a guy, yes, I'm a loan shark, but if I know a guy, you know, if I know a guy is working as a glacier, and I know pretty much what he makes on his construction jobs, and I'm paying attention to the construction industry, if this guy is into me for 5 big ones, I don't lend him 5 more big ones. I don't do this. You know, I mean, fundamentally, I just saved myself a trip over to the guy's house, breaking his legs. How many legs does he have? He's got 2 legs. I would really rather just get paid. If you are a degenerate gambler, this is life and death to you. And this is where they get you every time. Like my 3-card Monty friend in Tel Aviv said, nobody who knows anything about life does this. Do not. And now all of a sudden it comes out, oh, and the guy says, well, who? The baseball teams are so big. Who are they going to fix? Who are they going to fix? Stop it. You don't have to fix the whole team. He goes, but you're not going to get anybody to throw the World Series. That's true. You're not. Because a lot of those guys get on the field millionaires and they leave the field millionaires. But there's some people on the field who are not millionaires. He goes, like, who? Who? Some 4th string quarterback or shortstop or? Are you fucking stupid? You think those refs are making $1 million? You think the umpire is making $1 million? You think the line judge is making $1 million? Bill Francisi, the guy, I think that's his name, was talking about fixing sports. He's like, I got a basketball team. We got 5 guys on each side. I don't have to fix the whole team. One guy. Because I'm ultimately, my pitch to the guy is, I'm not asking you to throw the game. I'm asking you to help me with the spread. And your gambling debts go away. Or your problem with cocaine goes away. Or this, whatever problem you have, I'll solve. I help you, you help me. So if you don't think that having a fight in a place that's not, you know, if you don't think for a second that business considerations come across before pure sports ones, you don't know what kind of world we're living in. You have no idea about what kind. People are saying there's a hard time hearing me. I hope you hear that. You don't know what kind of world we're living in. So I look at it clearly, 165-pound Rhonda, and I've got questions. I got a 165-pound Rhonda who's slamming down the phone when somebody on a show asks about Travis Brown. What the fuck did you think? What did you think? You think this guy goes on public blast where talks about his angel baby and this is my woman and we're life partner. Like that guy I saw in a tattoo parlor with 8 women's names tattooed on his arm. Don't you know bad boys move in silence and violence? Don't broadcast that. Somebody asked, click. Do I defend her right to hang up? I defend your right to stop talking anytime you think it's right for you to stop talking. Like I defend my right to start talking whenever I think it's right for me to start talking. So what are you saying, Eugene? Why don't you have some balls and just come out and say it? I'm not saying anything. I'm just raising some questions about how somebody might get to 165 in advance of that. You know, you want to know how Johnny Boney Joni is back on the team? Because Johnny Boney Joni is taking Instagram photos with Holly Larry Holmes. So Holly Larry Holmes is taking pictures to get people to not pay attention to the fact that this is a nowhere fight. A nowhere fight. Rhonda. A nowhere fight that Rhonda skates through and immediately post facto announces that the fight with Cyborg is booked. When? I don't know, sometime in spring. You think they're running random drug tests up there? You think they're gonna run them in Australia? I mean, the thing is, where you were caught right now, and I want to do a piece maybe for Ozzy on cynical opportunists and true believers. And I tell you, as a true believer, I find myself, you know, it's like when I've told people I'm going to punch them in the face, and they all have the same. Every single person who I've punched in the face, who I've said, if you don't stop, I'm going to hit you in the face. Every single person who I've hit in the face under those circumstances looks the same after I hit them in the face, and that's surprise. Somebody tells me they're going to hit me in the face, I take 2 steps back. I'm not still there trying to chatter away. I believe them. Takes 2 steps back and I hold my hands. Come on, man. Hey. But every person, and it's not a lot, I'm talking maybe 4 people, like that, surprised that they've been struck in the face. So you know, if you're a true believer like me, you are constantly shocked that there's gambling going on in Casablanca. I'm sorry, you're gonna have to go back to Casablanca for this reference to make any sense to you. You should have watched the movie already. Don't make me watch them for you. So I'm not saying anything about Rhonda and performance-enhancing drugs, except to say cybergenics is pretty good to get from 145 to 165. And also, performance-enhancing drugs in women are very interesting. I'm not saying that that female fighters are taken outside of the ones who've publicly been busted, like Justina, Cyborg Santos, or whatever the fuck her name is this week. Let's just call her Cyborg. You can increase women's testosterone level, or you take Novadex, or there's some better ones now, estrogen antagonists, which male bodybuilders take as well. So in effect, I mean, your body's a homeostatic system. As a woman, your testosterone, your estrogen levels are here, and women have testosterone levels too. So I knew a buddy who had it down to a science. He goes, if I see a woman with bad skin, I go for her. It means her testosterone levels are pretty high. She's horny all the time. I go, yeah, but the bad skin. He's like, yeah, whatever. So the system is like this. So if she takes an anti-estrogen and can effectively lower her estrogen, it's not just lowering the estrogen, it's the kind of the ratio. She's actually sort of increased her testosterone. I don't know. I'm just looking at pictures, just like you, pictures. And you say, Eugene, that would be cheating. That would be, you know what? I'm a true believer that's been laughed at by cynical opportunists more often than I care to. So it's made me kind of sensitive. just a little sensitive. Like the Belfort Henderson 3 UFC Fight Night 77 kerfuffle and not appear. You know, yeah, come on, I'm not. You know what? You know, his wife, Belfort's wife, did a press conference and sounded, or an interview with Sherdog, and sounded completely legitimate to me when she said, look, Helwani wanted to talk about this thing. We said, hey, if that's what you want to talk about, we're having a press conference where we'll talk about that from top to bottom. Want to talk about the fight? You alone, I'll give you the exclusive to talk about the fight. But no, you got the press conference. And Helwani was like, well, that's it, out. Like, hey, man, you got him on the phone. Now, Jennifer Wenck is not doing marketing or PR marketing for the UFC anymore. I think she's busted out with her own company. I don't know who's doing it now, but, you know, they're not talking to me. They're talking to you. So, you know, Kabuki Theater, love it. Love it. Oh, Belfort, he's ducking this, and you got these guys taking. You know who you're talking about? You're talking about a dead man. There is as much reality to the Belfort, you know, constituency as there is to Tank Abbott's. Interestingly enough, Tank Abbott, friend of Knuckle Up, and a guy who I would count as an associate. I like quite a bit, but nobody's talking about him fighting. Belfort started fighting when he was 19. He's well older. He is in the waning days of his career. In no way, shape, or form should justify all of these column inches, to use an old journalistic term. And the fact that he is means we are in big trouble. The house is on fire, the nightclub is on fire, and the exit doors are jammed up. You know, you laughed at my MMAARP idea that I busted loose with a few years ago, but that's the world in which we live. That is the world in which we live. In the past few weeks, you know, we've had this kind of dead zone, but in the past few weeks, the headlines, I'll give them to you off the top of my head. The headlines involve Kimbo Slice. The headlines involve a Shamrock. The headlines involve a Fedor fighting a guy who has one fight. A Belfort Henderson. I mean, you know, and you have the discovery issues, you know, the UFC losing. There's a lot of stuff happening. You've got Stalingrad. You've got misadventures in North Africa. You've got having to rescue Mussolini the first time. Right? They showed up kind of late the second time. Otto Skorzeny trying to rescue, you know, famous Nazi pilot trying to rescue Mussolini. And in the end, the Italians showed their love for Mussolini in the only way that, in a way that I imagine love will be shown for me. In a piazza, upside down with folding chairs. But through all that smoke, and well, I'm going to end up the show. I said it's going to be a short show. Through all that smoke, I want you to notice something. And it's occurred as a gentle drum beat. Like the beat of a tom-tom, where the ding. I don't know if you're reading dude's tweets. But we talked about Yates, or was it William James, and that beast slouching toward Jerusalem. There's a poem he had written about how, like, the second coming of Christ, you know, you had your chance with the Prince of Peace, and you guys crucified him. Second time around, he's not coming back as a Prince of Peace. He's coming back described. I'm thinking it's James. I'm sorry, I should remember this. As a beast slouching towards Jerusalem. A scary image. Check out some of Johnny Boney Joni's tweets. I can read some to you. They come in over the transom. I don't know if the guy wants his name used, but I just here we go. He says, honestly, I'd fight Daniel in the OSU wrestling room. John Smith can be our referee. Just trying to take back what's mine. Not so noteworthy. Not so noteworthy, Mr. Tweeting and Deleting, Johnny Boney Jones, until you look at the timestamp, which apparently is 1:42 a.m. It reminds me of that Key and Peele UFC skit. I will take the soul from your body. You know, and as your family crouches over your bed, who are you breathing through a tube? He's sending this to DC. It continues. Johnny Boney Jones, too pussy to fight at the Garden, but flies all the way to Albuquerque to prove he's a man. Hashtag scratching my head. You on your way, pussy? Oh, it continues. I'm done talking with you for now, Carlton Banks. That's a TV reference, I guess, to Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Maybe. I'm guessing. I don't know. Even though the guy who won all the Emmys for Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was Rob Edwards, guy who also wrote Treasure Planet, is a known associate of mine. You know, he's a funny guy. I asked him, hey man, you won Emmys and shit. Can you get me some work? No, I want to write the film, the TV shit. They need my fucking help. And he goes, oh, Eugene, I don't want to do that to you. You know, they're not, you know, it's not the money. Look, they're paying $2,000 a week. That's, you know, it's not, I don't, you know, that's not for you. Of course not. Of course not. It's not for me. I got it. Heaven forbid I should get $2,000 a week, which comes out to about $8,000 a month. You know, I mean, heaven forbid. You know, he preferred me in my natural state. My natural state. Like a crab on the ocean floor, my natural state. Eating detritus and crumbs and bits of other fish. Roaches of the ocean. In any case, I'm done talking with you for now, Carlton Banks. You are losing this battle. Let's just prepare for the real one. Hashtag unbelievable. Hashtag nice try. This is after an entire day of him ripping on DC. You know, my sister's second husband, who was largely a piece of crap, said something to me that he was a bouncer, and I actually kind of, you know, I mean, I could separate the fact that he was a piece of crap and terrible to my sister from the fact that he managed to entertain me for some period of time. But he said something at one point when he was bouncing, and some guy was like giving him a hard time, and he said to the guy, and this guy, her second husband, was very much like Jon Bone Jones, about the same height, kind of, you know, he's a martial artist, about the same height, you know, same build, pretty much. I mean, you know, if he walked up to you on the street and said, "This is my brother," you'd buy it, but just not as successful. And he says to this guy he's about to beat to death, and he goes, "You know, where you're trying to get to right now, I'm already there." That's it. Where you're trying to go to, you know, I can feel you ramping your way up into tough guy land. I'm already there. You're trying to get to fight velocity. I'm right there now. You have pushed me there. So, you know, so you got a DC who is I mean, you know, Johnny Boney Joni is pulling off a Nick Diaz par excellence, non-pariah. Which, in other words, as soon as my pen comes off that paper where I've signed the contract, our fight has begun. You know, and the reason why it's not just a head trick, a skull game, is because it's real. This is not the true believer talking. This is the cynical opportunist talking. You know? Like, you know, you hear them say something like they're trying to build a fight. These guys really don't like each other. It's more than that. We're talking Achilles, you know, on strike by his tent, refusing to fight as his countrymen get slaughtered. So, that's too bad. That's too. You know, I wasn't really helping you guys out there. You got, yeah, you know, you don't need me. You know, you don't need me. Usually, you don't need $2,000 a week. That's not you. That's not you. That is not you. I'm talking loudly because you're in the comments. You keep complaining about the audio. Maybe I'm talking too loud. So the fact that, like, Captain Ahab, Jon Jones has been allegedly, according to my spies, prior to his sentencing, at liquor stores, you know, trying to get them to sell liquor after the 2 p.m. blue law time, at titty clubs, you know, not training. Because that was a man without the white whale. Now we got a man with the white whale. And their timing, again, is really extra special. Pay attention to it, baby, because like Leonard Cohen says, the future is murder. Because DC is like, fuck, man, this belt, this hardware is looking pretty good. I've done some music videos, me dancing around with the chicken, donuts, you know. I beat a Rumble, sent him back to the minors. You know, and I beat Gustafson. I beat him so bad I had to cheer him up. You know, I don't want the guy committing suicide after the fight, so I had to, you know, hey buddy, you doing okay? Yeah. No, you're really okay? Yeah. He's sitting there with his chew at the back, lonely at the airport table. I remember coming from a fight once, and then seeing Thiago, the pit bull, sitting there in the airport just alone by himself. Around. It's like, yeah, no entourage here, baby. No crew, no team, no coach. A dude in the airport with a fucked up ear and the booze on his face. So if you're not paying attention to this Johnny Boney Joni thing, you know what? Somebody goes to me the other day, they go on Halloween, he's like, hey, talking, he goes, man, Johnny Boney Joni is fake. I go, that's yesterday's script, baby. He goes, oh yeah, I guess that's right. He's free from that. I go, he is free from that shit. Free. He's been given a license to live, an actual fact. And in that, he has embraced the love of a nation, because America hates winners, but a guy who's got the same problems we do, clearly it doesn't fit in our sense of us winning. Hey man, I can fucking be at titty bars till 2 in the morning, trying to get alcohol at 2 in the morning, crashing my car, running back and get my. I could do all that shit. I could do it. He's just like me. But you know, the manner in which he's not like you is the manner in which that slow burning Ahab-esque anger has nurtured itself and now has a focal point. I've said this before on other fights, and I'm saying it again for this fight. I think about DC and Jon Jones, and inside I get fucking nervous. If you could put an EEG or EKG or whatever that thing is, and the brain waves on me, and then show me a picture of that fight or show me some of those tweets, it's like I'm fighting. You know, DC is a friend to knuckle up. But this is something biblical happening. And you don't think fights happen in wrestling rooms? Go to Aussie.com and read my story about oh man, I write so much. People are like, Eugene, don't you remember that piece you wrote 3 days ago? I'm like, what piece was that? Oh, the piece where you talked about Chris Pratt. I go, who's Chris Pratt? They go, you just wrote about him. I said, I write a lot of stuff. The wrestler cat, Lee. Oh man, this is sad that I don't remember. Lee Kemp, yes. Lee Kemp, after he took out Dan Gable showed up at the Olympic training facility, said, where's that kid? He said, he's warmed up. He said, send for that kid. Somebody says, hey man, Gable's in the back. He wants to see you. He's like, what, are you kidding? I just practiced. He goes, no, he wants to see you now. Just, you know, whatever, go on. He goes in the back, no crowds, just the two of them. One light, the mats. He walks out in the mat, doesn't say hello, Mr. Gable, doesn't say anything. He walks on the mat, Gable shoots on him. And they roll for like, the guy said 90 minutes, no talk. You know what? I mean, this is why I love fucking MMA. This is why I love it. This is no other sport in which, yeah, I mean, are the Mets personally invested in winning? It'd be nice. They'd be excited. They get some ring and they get to do a parade. Yeah, they're excited. I'm not saying they're not excited. But I could be excited about something in general. Like I could be excited that Christmas is coming up. And then I could be excited about something very specific, like crushing the bones of my opponent into dust. If you do not think that Jon Jones wants to take Daniel Cormier and tear him apart, send him broken, like Coach Dream Crusher Sorrell said, the things that get broken when you lose are sometimes never fixed. If you don't think he wants to do to the nth power what he did to him the first time, you're out of your mind. Nobody who does what he's doing now feels any other way about this. He's not drumming up a fight. He's been given a license to do what he's saying is in effect, when I get my hands on you, I'm gonna tear you. I desire nothing more clearly than the complete and total cessation of your being in this arena. I don't care if it's not just go back to heavyweight or go, I want you dead. And if you don't think people think in those terms, read some of the text. I've been there. I am that guy. I can smell it. If you are on my retail list, a guy named Howard Unruh, you look him up. He just died a few years ago. Was in the hospital for the criminally insane out in Camden, New Jersey. He was one of the first mass shooters. He had a retail list, RETAL. And people are like, oh, Eugene, you're so crazy. You're retail. You know what's scary? My retail list is not huge. My retail list is very small. You know, I have a secondary retail list of people where, like Hitler, he said, Christopher Browning said, was the extirpation of European Jewry, was that always part of Hitler's plan? Or it was conditional. Violation of the Treaty of Versailles. What happens then? Chamberlain comes back strong. He goes, okay. But Providence had to prove to him that he was right. And this is this is the same sort of thing. So I have got my main retail list. And then I've got the secondary retail list where if the circumstance is right and I can do you dirt, yeah, you got it. And then there's a tertiary retail list. And the tertiary retail list is huge. And that amounts to guys with smart mouths what fuck with me on the internets. Yeah. I'll give you an example. We're playing a show at the Paradiso in Amsterdam, and some guy, I'll just get cut to the chase. And a guy is standing across the merch table from me, and he's going, "You want to hit me? Go ahead and hit me. Go ahead and hit me. You want to hit me? Go ahead and hit me. Go ahead and hit me. You want to?" Bam! And I hit him in the face. Like, you hit me. I said, "Hey man, you just asked me to hit you like 8 times, but you hit me." I said, "Look, are you gonna buy some merchandise or what?" Yeah, it gives me 20 euros and he's all offended and hurt. I mean, I didn't hit him hard. I just hit him. He was asking for a hit. Now, that guy was on my tertiary retail list because he's uploading shit for free, Oxbow stuff for free. He's like, man, I'm doing a service. I go, service? That CD that you're uploading is right there on that fucking merchandise table, unsold. Who are you serving? Who? This is in the days when I was still ranting and screaming about this. So my point is here that if you have one person on your retail list at 1:42 in the morning, whereas before your sentencing, you might have been at the liquor store and said, "Come on, hook me up," or rushing from the titty bar to the liquor store. Come on. Now you have a focus. You think he's having somebody? I mean, that's the thing, too. A lot of these guys will have somebody. I know Jake Shields used to have somebody administer his account. I don't have time for that shit. You take care of it. You think he's administered? No. It's really John. You think Malky is up looking? No. It's Johnny Boney Joni sitting there. You know? And it's like I said, unless DC's got a clock that runs backward at home, man, this is a lot of stuff to think about. And he's not, and what's clever about it is Johnny Boney Joni is not giving him like Slick Rick says, a break to breathe. Feeling pretty good about yourself, huh? Oh, yeah. Beat Rumble? Woo, good. You know, you beat Gustafson? Pretty good. But didn't beat me. And now you're the only guy I got to take care of. It's frightening. In fact, for Halloween, I just sat around reading Johnny Boney Joni's tweets. I suggest you try it sometime. And in serving his own ends. I mean, this is. I don't care what the bald one said about him. One point. This is a pure definition of a what he called him, a sport killer. No, this is a sport builder. Purely because by aggressively serving his own ends, the sport, all boats are rising. All boats are rising. I mean, we're talking about Belfort and Henderson. You know, nobody's talking about Rhonda and Holly Larry Holmes. And we're finally on the cusp of, I'm hearing all the news about McGregor. Oh, I had this physical problem. I love McGregor. But McGregor is up against some serious fight math, for which you will now get no help from the rest of the world, the bald one or anybody else. He's got to, what they say, put up or shut up. Which means if you're looking at, you know, they have these things called a SWOT analysis. Any of you business folks out there, raise your hands, raise your hands. SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. They draw a matrix on the board. A board meeting is involved in people talking about these special segments of the. You look at your SWOT analysis for mixed martial arts. And like the guy says in Mad Max, you guys want to get out of here? Come through me. How old is Johnny Boney Joni? In his late 20s, 27, 28? He's got another decade. And it's not like he's been getting film roles like Rhonda. You know? It's his house. It's his house. It's his house. It's his house. And he sets a tone and the timbre of it all. And we're about to enter the mean season. And if you had the EEGs, the EKGs hooked up to me, I am fucking frightened. I'm not saying he's unbeatable. A relaxed Jon Jones, which is what we saw against the Mauler the first time, is almost beatable. But you know what? Nah, I think you had the door opened a little bit. And you had that chance, and nobody rushed through. And I don't think you're going to have that chance at least for half a decade. No. Oh, there's some talk about, oh, what about Rumble? Don't even start with me over Rumble. Because we know on any given day, skill set, yeah, we're talking about the mindset. You know, Rumble is, you know, glad-handed, high-fiving, low-fiving, hugging Johnny Boney Joni. Man, you lost. The second your signature comes off that contract page, you're hugging and kissing and high-fiving him, low-fiving, calling him, asking him how his dinner was. We're professionals. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's fine. I'm glad. You know who's sending tweets at 1:42 in the morning? Captain fucking Ahab. That's who. So 3:42. You got clearly. You got dead men fighting. Belfort and Henderson. I say dead men because do you think that 2016 holds anything of interest for either of those guys? Win or lose? No. Therefore, dead. Do you think 2016, 2017 hold, now that we're at year end of 2015, do you think it holds any interest at all, anything interesting at all for Rhonda other than Ms. Marvel and Cyborg, who she now outweighs, incidentally? Do you think there's going to be a heavyweight resurgence? Do you think the bald one swoops on Scott Coker and yanks Fedor out of there and has that matter? Fedor, how old is he? Arlovsky, Verdum, come on. Conor McGregor makes it past Jose Aldo. He better. He's got to. Because if he doesn't, he's just another guy. Another guy who's asking for 100 mil? No way. Even though he should say the same. I'm gonna win or lose, baby. I'm putting asses in the seats. Win or lose. This right here. That's putting the asses in the seats. Win or freaking lose. I didn't want to talk about the fact that my leg was amputated before the last fight. I don't know if you guys noticed. And I won it anyway. That's right. Get on the phone and say, hey, baby, we're rich. But if you listen to Jose Aldo, you know, the way he's talking about, he desires to do to him what Johnny Boney Joni is going to do to DC. Mark my freaking words. Take this show, download it to your laptop, say open June 2016, and open and play it back to yourself in June of 2016. And then you can send me $15 and some toilet paper. Because a man of my position should not be reduced to stealing toilet paper from public restrooms. Anyway, that's the show. That's the show. Keep sending me those texts. Check out, if you go in the front, the beginning, and you look down on the Bloody Elbow page, I usually put a link to the Aussie piece I'm most excited about. I just wrote a piece for The Quietists, the UK publication on fight scenes in movies, incidentally, which will be a fun piece. I'll put a link up. Eugene S. Robinson for the Twitter tweeted thing. I'm not up at I am up at 142, but I'm not sending that. I'm not one of these compulsive tweeters. I'll send you stuff if I think you should read it. Like the Nazi cows. The Nazi cows I tweeted out this week. Great story. Killer cows. The Nazis tried to bring them back. They were called Herks or some shit like that. Go to my Twitter, check it out. It was a great story. They were like the craziest cattle ever. People were terrified. They would just chase you for miles, and they wouldn't stampede you. They would. It was like crossing a grizzly with a cow. And the Nazis tried to reverse engineer them to raise them again. They were the biggest land cattle ever. So, you know, you get yourself one of those, a Presa Canario, hyena, pets that you can't. Some woman had a hyena and was limping, had been playing tennis and hurt her leg limping, and the hyena attacked. They're like, boom, fuck it. She's, you know, pets that will kill you if given half a chance. That's another story in and of itself. Anyway, that's the show. I hope you enjoyed it. Keep in mind, I can show you in the next room. I got about 5 fight books left. If you want them, you can, Pinko 95014 at yahoo.com. PayPal, $35 there. I'll sign it, send it to you. Audio book of this, it's there. Anyway, we'll see you soon. Next week, I'm going to be at the Worlds, IBJJF Worlds in Long Beach. If you see me there before I fought, don't touch me. I'm super paranoid about it. It's superstitious. Don't touch me unless you have already won. If you haven't fought yet, or if you've lost, just wave. And then so that night, November 7th, with my winning in place, we're gonna go watch the fight, the same fight, the Belfort Henderson thing, and then sometime we'll drive back on Sunday or whatever. We'll do the show. Anyway, we'll see you soon. Look what you made me do!